people you talking about, they spent money on white women. They set up bars and they went playing pool and golf for $1,000 a hole, and they were known to make millions and millions when there wasn't no high taxes, and they were not hindered by white America. They were allowed to see the white America is completely and close all the doors on me. I'm not allowed to work in America, out of America. I was stopped right in my prime just when I started making money. So you can't compare me with nobody like Joe Lewis or nobody.
And if you are black, if you are brown, if you are indigenous, and if you are poor, this system is rigged and it is right to the core, and we gonna unbreak it. That's it. And that's all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radical Democracy Show. I'm your host, Kahmali Rose, and we are also, this is not just the Radical Democracy Show today, we are doing a co-stream today, so we are both streaming to Radical Democracy as well as Racefist Media. Kwame Norville, of course, joins us from Racefist Media, and we have a special guest today with us, Dave DiCenso, here as our resident stock expert.
Not an expert.
Stock analyst. No, just teasing. So right off the top, we just have to say, what we're going to talk about today, everything that we talk about today that you will hear today, please do not misconstrue any of this as financial advice. None of us are financial advisors. If you listen to anything that any of us broke bastards say, you are the moron, okay? So that's on you, all right? So please do not misconstrue anything we say today as financial advice. None of it is. And also, disclaimer, we're going to be talking about some various stocks today in the stock market, and I think all of us, I'm sure all of us actually have at least some. We have at least some small ownership stake on just very minor ownership
shareholders.
Stake.
We are shareholders
of these stocks. So yes, thank you. So all right. With that being said. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here, everyone. If you haven't done so already, please do us a favor and hit the like button way down below there. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Share this out on social media, wherever you can. Today, we're going to be talking about all of the hoopla going on around the stock market, Wall Street, big tech, the U.S. government, how all of those things intertwine. And how essentially the second coming of the Occupy Wall Street movement. This one being done from remotely from our homes, not in Zuccotti Park this time. So let's to get us kicked off and to sort of help orient us on this story. What I'd like to do is ask Dave to please, if he could just take us through, sort of give us a recap of the week's events. How did this all start? Where did this start? What is this about? Who are the major players here?
So all this really started over the past year or so. A lot of hedge funds and other investment firms noticed GameStop as a dying business. They expected the price of the stock to go down. Various reasons might have been there for that, between coronavirus, between the increase in digital distribution for games, and also because of a lot of GameStop's other failures that we as gamers and consumers of that industry are pretty familiar with. Anyway, so when they saw this as a potential, they did a bunch of short sells. What that basically means is they're going to borrow shares of stock at the current price. They're betting that's going to go down. So they're going to borrow shares of stock at the current price to sell right now. Then later down the line, when the price drops like they expected to, that's when they're going to buy them back with interest from they're going to buy those shares back with interest. Now, some people on Reddit, on Wall Street Bets, got hold of this information. This is usually publicly available because of SEC regulations. So Wall Street Bets got a hold of this, and they decided, if we buy it, this price goes up, and now the hedge funders have to pay back the higher price on the stock compared to what they thought was going to be a lower price. So as long as retail investors, people like us buying a few shares here and there, That's going to drive the price. Now Wall Street's panicking because they have to pay that higher price. As they pay the higher price on the shares that they owe, that's going to keep driving the price up. This is called a short squeeze, and there's a term called gamma squeeze in there, which I'm not entirely familiar with. But that's sort of like where it's going to peak, and that there's no numbers that I can say for that because no one really knows. This really is, like they're saying, treating Wall Street like a casino. But this is how, hedge fund managers have been doing it for years. This is what caused the 2008 crash, things like this. This is what the whole movie was about with Steve Carell, The Big Short. In the past couple of days, more and more people have been getting along with this, the Wall Street Bets page and putting their money in. That's why we saw over the past 3 or so days, the price went from something like $15 or $16 up to, I think it was as high as $400 the other day. Now Wall Street's panicking because they're owing billions and billions of dollars on these new share prices. There's kind of a lesser extent going on with these other stocks that people are talking about too, but not to the extent and to the target level that people are buying GameStop. That's pretty much the general sense of it. Be happy to see what I can do clearing up some more. If you guys have any questions, if the commenters have any questions.
Yep. So how much of the stock for GameStop was shorted? I didn't know if I heard you mention that.
Yeah, no, actually great question, because I should have mentioned that. They were so confident that these prices were going to bottom out that they borrowed around 150% of the available shares.
Wow. So you can somehow borrow more shares than the company actually even exist.
Yes. I don't know how or why that's allowed, but that's the world that we live in.
Yep. All right. So that's very interesting. So somehow they're able to borrow even more, more stock than even exists. That's amazing to me. So they owned about 150%.
I guess the logical thing is, if I'm borrowing them now, I'm automatically selling them back. So they're still in the system per se,
floating around.
Like the 50% over what exists are basically IOUs.
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah. So now in the wake of this now, people were able to, through Wall Street Bets, they were able to go on there to drive up the price of GameStop. Did you say what the movement was? Like, how much did it start at? Where's it at now? Kind of.
It started this week around like $15 or $16, something like that. And about 2 days ago, it hit up as high as like 450 aftermarket.
Wow.
And
okay. Yeah.
In the past 24, 48 hours, it's kind of been hovering in that 250 to 300 range.
Okay. And so I think that what we want to talk about today is kind of what role big tech has now come in and played in this, because of course we got, it was through a, this sort of website, Reddit, that this all spawned out. Can you talk a little bit about like how big tech sort of in, how they got involved in this? Why are we even talking about big tech as a part of this? It isn't all, stock markets, is Wall Street, if people are putting money in stocks, how does big tech, get involved in this?
One of the common retail trading options is Robinhood. A lot of people use it to buy a few shares. They are heavily financially backed by Citadel, a major hedge fund. So they're basically at their whim. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before or so, that Robinhood started halting purchasing ability on companies like GameStop, but they allowed you to sell. That's why, if you've been following the numbers, there was a big dip to about 150 the other day in the GameStop's stock price. That's when these trading platforms froze the ability to buy. That gave hedge funds the ability to sell without the price going up, so that they could, so they could keep buying it while that price was down and pay back their shorts as best as they could to mitigate losses there. And it's basically what people on Wall Street Bets are doing is basically the exact same strategy that these hedge funds have been using just pretty much in the reverse. So where these hedge funds saying, here's all this money saying they're going to lose money. The retail investors are fighting back by saying, nope, we're saying this is worth a lot more.
Gotcha. And so, so what we have going on here is this is a situation where, a bunch of sort of everyday sort of folks. These aren't like billionaires. Some people may be, middle class, so somewhere middle class or so folks got in, were able to buy up this stock, and through buying up the stock, drove up the price, which means they were making money. So middle class, folks were able to drive up the price on the stocks that they bought, meaning they were making money. And at the same time that they were making money, they were also losing. They were taking money from Wall Street.
Yes.
Now, did you mention? So what happened with? Are you familiar with Mellon Capital? And can you tell us anything about what happened with them?
With Melvin?
Melvin Capital. Sorry.
Yeah, so Melvin had several $1 billion on these short sells that I was mentioning earlier. When you short a stock, it has an expiration date. That's like having the rent be due with interest.
Yeah.
So that means they've got to buy it back at whatever price it's at. This is having a little bit of a ripple effect in some other stocks, because in order to pay this new price, they're going to sell off some other assets to have the money to do it, so they don't go bankrupt. That's why a lot of other more, popular stocks have been falling the past few days.
Gotcha. All right, nice. So essentially, they were able to really hit the Melvin Capital really hard. I've heard it. I heard Saga and Jetty mention it as much as $10 billion that they may have lost.
13, somewhere in that range.
Okay, yep. So around 13 billion. Yeah. Wow, that's wild. So, all right. So I guess what I'd like to talk about, it's because what trips me out about this is just that there seems to be like some weird bedfellows being made out of this. Like I've seen AOC and Ted Cruz and Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports.
I think I saw Ben Shapiro was even coming out like, "Hey, let the people trade Robinhood." So yeah, it's wild times on both ends. I feel like you're seeing some other people partnering up on the other end, whether incidentally or not. Accounts being frozen. Not just from buying, but from even posting, Discords going down, things.
Because that's the kind of big tech collusion. Like that's really where you start to really see like big tech jumping in on this. Like the Discord server, Discord, cut access to the server for, was it Wall Street Bets server?
Yeah, that's right.
So Discord comes in. Discord is an app. It's the app that we use, by the way. If you sign up for $5 or more on Radical Democracy Show, you get access to our Discord server, to our newest member. It's coming very soon, I promise. And so we use Discord here, and Discord was able to, and they're just, unfortunately, it's a capitalist, company, capitalist entity. They stepped in and they cut off the server. Well, Reddit, right? Even Reddit actually, can't cut Wall Street Bets, right?
For a few hours,
for a few hours, only Reddit mods, I think, could even access Wall Street Bets completely.
Yeah. So what we have here is, I've seen also, and I can show stuff from say, we've had members of the government as well, like the U.S. government, including senators, wading in on this and weighing in on this. And I saw even a tweet from Elizabeth Warren where she posted and said, casino-like swings in stock prices of GameStop reflect wild levels of speculation that don't help GameStop's workers or customers and could lead to market instability. Today, I told the SEC to explain what exactly it's doing to prevent market manipulation. So you got, senators weighing in, coming essentially, Elizabeth Warren, who's usually really good on sort of Wall Street issues. That's really her sort of wheelhouse, is financial issues, financial markets. And she's typically good on this, but she has seemingly come to the defense of hedge funds here, because doing this when, she's talking about market manipulation in terms of GameStop. But what Dave mentioned earlier was that there's market manipulation. They do market manipulation all the time. That's how Wall Street works. Do you have, something that they do that I'm familiar with is that oftentimes you'll get some of these investors who they'll go on to like MSNBC or CNN, and they get invited on all of these like CNBC and whatever, CNN Business, and they get invited on there, and then they're able to, use that platform to say whatever they want about a stock and alter the price of the stock. And there was like a really famous case of it that happened back at the beginning of the pandemic, actually. And there's this like billionaire hedge fund investor named Bill Ackman, and he was able to do this and to essentially manipulate the markets and make $2 billion. One guy made $2 billion, manipulate markets. And I didn't see any Robinhood or anyone else or any of these or any, government officials step in and say that, you need to be punished for this or anything like that. I didn't see any rules changes happening, but there was, this story, it's from CNBC. Bill Ackman warned hell is coming because of virus. This is in March 25th. And says Bill Ackman warned hell is coming because of virus. He then pocketed $2 billion in bets against markets. So here you have, someone going out there saying, listen, he really put out, like, used some fair tactics, got people scared of hotel stocks, and then he used that, used that fear. People started to sell their positions off, drove the price way down, and then he bought in big, and then all of those things went, quickly bounced back up. So you got examples, countless examples of billionaires being able to go on and to use their, and I'm getting a little bit of an echo, so I apologize. But billionaires are able to go on and to use their sway, these platforms, mainstream media, and that's another person that I forgot to mention in this, because the mainstream media has been totally complicit in this as well, because I think by and large the way that the mainstream media has covered it has been from a position of essentially protecting the hedge fund billionaires. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what everyone seems to be piling in to do, is protect the hedge fund billionaires. The move from the tech industry, the moves from the media, and the way that they're covering this, and then even our own government, coming in and leaning towards them. So, what's the sort of status of things right now? Like, you said that they stopped the trades for a while. Have trades resumed?
Certain platforms have. I think I read today that Robinhood is allowing you to buy one share of GameStop, AMC, and some of those other names.
Yeah.
Which that's market manipulation. Like, let's get that right off the bat right now. Yeah. That is market manipulation. Retail investors talking about stocks they like is not market manipulation, and that's what is happening on Wall Street Bets. No one's, forcing these people to go buy it. They're saying, I like this. If you want to listen, that's on you. The same way we opened this show.
Yeah. And so, and that's a great point. That is actual market, actual market manipulation is, because in the point that I was trying to make, which I don't think I made very well, was that what that billionaire did there is the same thing that the folks on Wall Street Bets are doing, right? It's to go out there to say what you believe.
Well, no, in the instance of Ackman, he did what Wall Street is doing right now. He made these put options, basically betting that the stock will go down.
Gotcha.
And they did because of the virus. So he sold these shares.
Gotcha.
Way higher than they were actually worth.
I see. So he's able to drum up that fear to get everybody to sell off to drive the price down, and he's bet on it already that it's going to go down. And then
right, if there's any gamblers in the audience, it's like betting the don't pass line when you play craps, where you bet that everybody's about to lose their money, and that's what he did, and that's why he made money.
Gotcha. Yep, that's a great analogy. So, and speaking of gambling, like, let's be real. If you're a gambler, like, what is the difference between the stock market and just gambling? Like, how is the stock market people want us to believe, right, that the stock market is this thing, right, where you get on there, you have a company, you develop a product, and then you go on there, you IPO, and now you're buying shares of this company, owning one of those shares. You're a part owner of that company essentially now, an investor in that company. And then the idea is that the stock price is then controlled by, in a lot of people's minds, I think the idea is that the stock price then moves based on the performance of that company, right? Is that company doing well? Then the price of the stock goes up. Is the company doing poorly? And doing poorly, we know what that means in business terms. Are they profiting? Are they turning a profit? Are they profiting to expect profit? So if this company is profiting more and selling more stuff, then the stock price goes up. If they're selling less stuff, the stock price goes down. Is that how the stock market works?
No. Short answer is no. It's more of a confidence game. The value of a stock is more based on the share the stock buyer's confidence that the business will do well in the future. Gotcha. More so than it is what it's doing right now. By the time you hear any major business announcements from a company, that's already affected the stock price.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so, when you say confidence game, it's people they're speculating, right? Like that's all it is. They're saying, I think this is going to do better tomorrow, a week from now, whatever, that this company. And the idea is that, I think that what people think it is I think people are accustomed to thinking, I'm betting that company is going to improve, materially, and that is going to drive the stock price up. When in fact, it's really not even that. You're speculating on the idea of what other people might expect.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And that actually I took a little issue about that Elizabeth Warren tweet that you said, where she said it won't help the employees, but it really might, because now that that company has way more valuation than it did before, they can sell off some of their own shares and use that money to restructure their business plan to figure out how to survive in a world of digital distribution, because they desperately need to. That's what the whole bet was about, that's a company that's going to go under. Now that they have that money, they can retool and find new ways to survive. While that won't, obviously, because of how things work in this country, go back to the workers, it might at least keep a job there for them.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Wow. So thank you for that. That's also sort of off the top of your head, define what a Ponzi scheme is. Do you have a definition of that in your brain?
Not like the official one, but I can pretty much describe it.
Yeah, can you tell
layman's terms?
Yeah.
So
basically someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, give me a little bit of money, and I have this project that's going to make billions of dollars, and you'll get X, Y, and Z on return," and then it just doesn't work. That's pretty much the bare bones of it, and the most I have confidence in defining it.
Okay, yep. And I think that's exactly how I understand it. And then one additional layer of it to me is just that in Ponzi schemes, often once you buy in, then you now try to then sell your thing to another person, so you're trying to now sell your position or whatever off to another person, so that you're essentially, I'm not going to explain this well, so I apologize.
Sounds like you're leaning towards a pyramid scheme in that description, but
yeah. Okay, you know what? Yes, that's what I think I mean. That's what I think I'm talking about here. Yes, it is one giant. I said Ponzi scheme, but I think pyramid scheme describes it better, right? Where everybody that gets in, you're like trying to now sell off, like
you're trying to sell the idea to someone else because it helps your pocket. Yeah, I mean,
the idea being you go find some more people to go sell it off to, essentially, you know. And so that's right. I think I got the term Ponzi scheme in mind. I think it's a little
it's more of a Ponzi scheme than pyramid.
Yeah. So, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about when we talk about stocks, it's not that there's like a real product under there, you know,
right?
What's really, it's the like you said, the speculation, what your confidence is. It's a measure of the confidence in that stock to improve or decrease. And so I think that what's got people really upset about this is that there only seems to be this coordination to try to, from the tech industry and Wall Street, it's all being done, it seems, to protect the billionaire investors, and it's being done under the guise of like, oh, we're really trying to protect the little person. Like paternalistically, it's like, oh no, we want to. Robinhood said that they were protecting their own. Sorry, I'm getting an echo. I apologize. Throwing me out. So Robinhood said that they were stopping those. Let me know in the comments if anyone's catching an echo. Let us know in the comments so we can fix the echo. Okay, y'all. If it's just me, that's fine. So, Wall Street is saying that they are. I'm sorry, Robinhood is saying that they stopped their purchasing to protect the investor. To protect their investors. The customers, right?
Right.
But I think something that people don't recognize about Robinhood is that the people that are using the Robinhood app are not the customers of Robinhood. Robinhood is a free app. Am I correct? That Robinhood is a free app, right? So Robinhood is a free app, meaning you, the person using the app, you're not paying Robinhood, right? The people that are paying Robinhood, you're not. If you're using the Robinhood app, you're not a Robinhood customer. You're the Robinhood product. What Robinhood is actually selling is your data to hedge fund investors in Billionaires, and they sell your data to investors so that investors then can know what are the average everyday people betting, right? So you're not the customer, you're the product at Robinhood. And I think that people get this idea that like, okay, no, they have some sort of consumer power or something like that. And I don't, am I correct in saying that? Like that's essentially what's going on there, right?
More or less, yeah. They want you to think that you're the customer. That's why all the people saying what you just quoted, want us to like feel placated and helped, but enough people see right through it.
Yeah. All right. Yep. So that's, I just think it's an important point to make for folks, that they know, like, this is what's really going on here, is that, these people they have similar interest, and they're protecting their class interest here at the end of the day. This is protecting the billionaire class interest, and that's really what is going on at the end of the day.
Sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So, any thoughts on this? What are y'all general thoughts about what's going on here? Like, this seems really like it's annoying. What frustrates me, like, I loved what was going on. Like, I love the idea of everybody getting together, and all of us everyday folks getting together, and maybe making a few dollars, right? And the thing is, and I heard Crystal Ball make this point on Rising, is that we know the risks, right? The risk that is involved with this, right? It's gambling. It's gambling at the end of the day. I used to bet on football games, and I swear it's no different to me. It's no different to me, right? It's just like you may do some research, you look at some statistics, you try to judge, hey, what do I think the outcome of this is going to be? And then you decide how much you're willing to lose in that. You put that up. if you hit, you hit. You know, if you're right, you win, you gain. If you're wrong, you lose. Like
a number of people that are really in the core group of Wall Street bets are ready to let that ride to zero. They got their $600 stimulus check, bought shares with that, and they're ready to ride it into hell. There's also, a few outliers who put everything they own into it, and if they lose everything, they deserve to.
Yeah. I hope no poor ass people are doing that. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. That's goofy. Like, you should not
be smart and don't invest anything more than you're willing to lose. That is the only thing I'll call actual financial advice in this this video.
Is to be safe and be careful with your money. All right, because they got a lot of it. You should anything you put in there, you got to be willing to lose essentially. And I think people did that knowingly. And the thing was, they just recognized that they would rather take the risk and lose and have a chance to beat back Wall Street, right? And the thing is, it's been working, right? Like, there's been I've read many articles over the course of the last week of people saying, listen, Wall Street is running scared right now. Like, they are afraid of what is happening right now.
Yeah.
It struck fear in the hearts of Wall Street.
And my understanding of how this whole thing with the whole short squeeze and the gamma squeeze works is that the longer people hold their shares, the more it's going to cost the hedge funds. Because once we start selling, well, I shouldn't say we, once retail investors start selling, it'll gradually drag the price down to a more manageable level for the hedge funders. The longer people hold, it's going to keep the price high. It's going to drive up the interest that hedge funders are paying on these shorted shares. So that's why, if you follow, the Twitter threads and the Reddit threads, everyone's saying hold, which is not my advice.
Very clear. Nice.
Which makes it even more wild when the only option that Robinhood was allowing people to do was sell their shares and not do anything else. That's what makes it even more just gross.
I have not been able to verify any of this part, but I have seen screenshots where during this, we'll call it a lockdown, Robinhood sold people's shares of GameStop on their behalf at the lowest price of that day, pretty much.
I've anecdotally seen that out in the wild in the Twitterverse screenshots of that as well.
There was a screenshot allegedly of the terms of service, which obviously no one reads terms of service, where Robinhood claims to allow themselves to do that if there's certain market conditions, which I should and probably won't go through and see if it is there. All I use Robinhood for is I have like $5 worth of dog coin, which is like $100 now, but hey.
Yeah, nice.
And I was trying to find out if I would be able to transfer that out of Robinhood, but it doesn't work the same way that other cryptocurrency wallets do. So I don't technically own those coins. It's basically like owning shares of stocks of that coin.
Oh, gotcha.
When you have it on Robinhood.
Gotcha. Thanatos also says, I read about Robinhood, but selling people shares too, but didn't verify yet. And P. Weber says, no morals.
No.
It's no morals hustle, piss taking to the fullest. Yes. Yep. Tammy says Donald Trump Jr. too. That was the other person that was aligned with. It was AOC, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump Jr.
I gotta give a special shout out to the shade that AOC threw back at Ted Cruz.
Yes.
That was one of that may have been the zinger of the year. Just good God.
Yeah, to Ted Cruz trying to align with AOC. AOC said something along the lines of like, listen, like I'm all for like bipartisanship and reaching across the aisle, working with Republicans. But dude, you tried to have me murdered like 3 weeks ago. So let's not even like let's see I want to share this. David shared this clip with us, and I wanted to show this clip too of a I'm going to try to find a second clip too that I thought was another good one that was shared on Rising. But can you tell us a little bit? Just introduce what this clip is here, Dave.
Yeah, this is Lee Cooperman, I believe, hedge fund manager. Oh yeah, Leon Cooperman. He's on CNBC, basically crying about what the retail investors are doing, because it's how it's hurting the hedge fund managers, but he's accidentally giving away, the power that these, hedge funds have over us.
All right, so let's check this out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, crying for, SEC investigations into what the retail investors are doing, but there's not much they can do without exposing the entire stock market as basically a sham.
Yeah, because, and this was a point that before we get to this clip really quickly, because this is another big point, is that what they're all getting mad at r/Wall Street Bets for doing, right? This is essentially what they do every day, right?
Yep.
Like this is not anything beyond this. Nothing that they were doing on r/Wall Street Bets was illegal based on, like, it all was within the rules, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the same thing that it always is. It's only bad when we do it, and they're only going to jump in and protect people when it's the rich people getting hurt.
Yeah, because the only penalty is a fine. It's not a crime if you're rich.
Yeah. So this tweet was actually from Isaiah James, who ran for Congress in New York. And he tweeted out, he says, when they say the quiet part out loud, this is a hedge fund billionaire, convicted insider trader, Leon Cooperman. So he's convicted of insider trading and he's worth $3.3 billion. That's the average salary of 94,000 Amazon workers. So here's what he really thinks of you. Let's be honest, they all do. Hashtag tax the rich. And then I'll play this clip here.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And the fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people, and I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together.
Oh my God!
What it's doing is
he literally said, "We said." Oh my God! Okay, I'm gonna. That all the billionaires need to band together to stomp out the little people. All right? Did we all
eat the poor? Eat the poor. You're already eating the poor. You're literally always stomping out little people.
I'm gonna play the clip once more because I cannot believe what I just heard.
Select the wheel and come again.
What it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share.
Just listen to the contempt in his voice too about people getting checks from the
sitting
government.
At home getting checks.
Is that
who else does that?
No, these are the motherfuckers. Their literal life as a hedge fund investor is sitting on your ass while your money makes money. You hire a bunch of people to go out there and to make investments for you, all right? And you sit on your ass and your money makes money. He's not working for his money. He didn't earn $1 billion, all right? Let's not kid ourselves, all right? So that's absurd. And you can just hear the contempt in his voice for poor and working class people getting $600 checks. He's just like, they're all sitting on their asses at home, collecting their government checks. Wow, here we go.
Hey, Cooperman, how about you buy yourself a lot less lattes? How about that? You'll be all right.
This is the guy. This is the same dude that was like on MSNBC, like crying because Bernie Sanders. He was like, Bernie's gonna take all our money. They want to come over the 2% wealth tax. He was like, we can't tax us at 2%. So this is that guy. All right.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people.
Like this fair share. He's like, the fair share. Like, I'm talking about the fair share. The $600 people get, it's not a fair share. A bullshit concept, right? Working class people, average people get $600 each. That is the fair share. That's bullshit. Oh my Lord.
And I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together.
Wow, we all got to work together and pull together. What he's talking about there, people. This is what class warfare looks like, all right? This is what it looks like. This is the employer class, the capitalist class. They are very much aware. They have class consciousness. It's the poor and working class that lack class consciousness. They know who their team is. They know who everyone on their team is, and they're sitting there. And it doesn't take, when he says, "Hey, let's all work together to stop this," he doesn't have to go and rally, tens of millions of people to his side. He's talking about, me and my 30 buddies that own literally more wealth than the bottom half of the country. Me and everybody that's on my speed dial need to get together and crush a little. So that blows my mind. That he would really go on. And this is the main thing he does. They can do a platform to Billionaires. As if he doesn't have a big enough platform already. No, you got to go give him the additional platform of what is it? What was it on?
It was CNBC.
Yep. So CNBC. He's got the platform anytime they want. They bring them on as if these people are geniuses. They must be so smart. They're so successful. If being successful meant that you were smart and intelligent, could Donald Trump become president of the United States? That Donald Trump is a genius and that's why he made it to where he made it. I don't know how Donald Trump didn't completely destroy the myth of meritocracy, and how clowns like this don't destroy the myth of meritocracy for everyone, immediately. Wow.
Okay. It's just absolutely wild. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's the.
I just feel like, as an aside, I need to say that, I personally, my biggest beef with this is the potential that this might save GameStop from fucking going the way of the dodo. I never want businesses really to go out of business, because those are people who are losing jobs. But GameStop, there's a special place in hell for you. And
let me it real quick. People lose jobs all the time without companies going under. They're always going to save their investors before they save the workers. So I just don't. I don't have any concern for these.
I'm so mad that this might keep GameStop in business longer. They're terrible. I will never forget them telling their employees that they had to wear the plastic bags over their hands and use tape because they wouldn't send them PPE during the pandemic, when they lied and said they were an essential business. That's this company, GameStop. They're fucking garbage from top to bottom. This could not have happened to a worse fucking company.
Yeah, you want to talk about Ponzi scheme? Go try to trade a game in at GameStop, and you'll see the greatest.
Which there has to be some amount of irony there with this whole thing happening to someone so notorious for ripping people off with trading. The irony cannot be lost on us all here. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Jeez.
So if you're just joining us, please, everyone, do us a favor, hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, share this video out, help us spread the word. Do we have any last thoughts here? I think, I just think that what I wanted to make sure that we did was just highlight that there's collusion going on here between big tech and Wall Street, that they join forces to stop everyday people. The retail investors. Thank you for that term, Dave. I appreciate that.
I only learned it this week. When I first heard it in articles, I thought it meant people investing in retail businesses. But I then learned it means people buying regular buying stocks.
Everyday people that just buy. And that's the thing. And Dave's one of the handful of people that I know that is buys and trades on the stock market, because most people, most working class people, we can't do it. So Dave's one of the few that I know, working class folks that actually does. Just to be clear, 84% of the stocks are owned by 10% of the country. The top 10% of people, and 50% of stocks are owned by the top 1%. So. Yeah,
I bought my first share. I'm pretty sure off the strength of Dave right here. To buy my little bits of stock here and there. So,
I didn't tell you to buy anything. I told you what I liked. Let's make that clear.
for legal reasons. But yeah, no, this is just, it's wild because it just goes to show that this was never really for us. And the second that we put our foot in the door, they were like, "Oh, hold up, we need to rethink this whole thing." Vita Jackson of Waypoints said it so well. She said, this is a Neopets ass economy. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a video game MMO. MMOs are notorious for having their economies easily crash because they're hypothetical economies that are very easy to game. So it's just wild when you realize that our economy is no different than World of Warcraft 10 patches ago. And it takes is a couple of trolls to make it all come tumbling down. It's just
great point. Steve Alvarez, what's up, Steve? Good to see you, comrade. Steve Alvarez says, "Yo, I'm all over this story." Nice. Good to see you. And Mark McKeever, another one of our supporters. Shout out to Mark McKeever. Appreciate you. Mark McKeever says, "Oh, damn, this live was listed for 9 p.m. I did that. I messed up. Oops."
All right, let's run it back.
I messed up. Sorry, I screwed that up. So I caused Mark to miss the start. Sorry about that, Mark. Yes. Speaking of our supporters, if you can afford to do so, please support our show for as low as $1. You can also support Kwame on Patreon, patreon.com/raisedfistmedia. You can support our show here on Coffee at ko-fi.com/radical democracy, as well as on Patreon at patreon.com/radical democracy. And I just want to give a huge, massive shout out to our newest subscriber, our newest supporter, Patreon supporter, Libby DMV, aka Melon Lord, in the chat. So you'll see Melon Lord around. We hope Melon Lord will stick around for a nice long time. And so just wanted to say, send a huge shout out. Thank you so much. We deeply, deeply appreciate that support. It's the only thing that keeps us going. And so we just can't thank you enough. When you support our show, you support independent Black left media. You're also supporting workplace democracy. One worker, one vote on all major decisions. And we deeply believe in that here. It's the fundamental change we need to make to our society in order to overthrow capitalism and end this BS like this, because we can't keep on with this speculative nonsense. So yes, big shout out to Melon Lord for becoming our newest subscriber and supporter. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to everyone that supports us in that way. We don't have $3.3 billion like Leon Cooper over there, so we got to do it one subscriber at a time. All right, yeah. So any other last thoughts on this? Throw it out there. Any last thoughts y'all got? Please let it be heard.
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah, nice.
It's silly. It's
ridiculous. The stock market is a joke. It's not real. None of it's real. It's never been real. And what this does is it exposes the fraudulence of the stock market itself, right? It's not a real thing. It's a way it's legalized gambling for the wealthy, right?
Yes.
They made gambling illegal for everybody else, and
it's legalized
unless controlled by the wealthy.
Unless controlled by them. I like that. Yeah, because it's not even
you can't gamble. Right? You can gamble legally, but you have to go by way of a wealthy man or someone who's allowing you to gamble. So it's all they control it all. They control it all, and it extra is loud and glaring when you look at the amount of money that all of us have lost and how all of them have made money from this pandemic. And when you think about you realize that Wall Street, all of this, it's not a proof of how the American people are doing. Our economy is fake when they talk about these numbers. Like,
the stock market's not the economy. A lot of people try to conflate the two, and they're not related.
No.
Yeah. And presidents like to do it sometimes. Obama.
Trump loves to do it. Trump loves. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, Trump loved to always, the stock market is doing so good, so the economy must be doing good. And the reality is, when 84% of stocks are owned by 10% of people, it's not a reflection of how the
economy is actual fluidity of money.
And even more so now, when you realize what Dave pointed out earlier, that even looking at the stock market isn't indicative of the economy, because it's all based on what someone think the interest in a company is, not actually how that company's doing. So it's even further removed from being a reflection of the way that our companies are doing, that businesses are doing, that our country's doing.
Yeah, that is a great point. I've heard the quote of like, the stock market is just a graph of rich people's feelings. Like that's all it's just a graph of rich people's feelings. That's it. So, and that's all it is. And that's all it's ever been. And when they talk about like the economy or these people like, and just all these financial markets and the financialization of our economy, this is what it all leads to. This is the end result of financializing our economy. And so they just bet on companies, and then people bet on the bets. Like that's literally what the derivatives market is like, betting on the bets. And so it's like, so it's so far removed from the real economy. And I just want to make sure that everyone watching the show understands that. So cool. I think I saw a couple of comments. Do we want to Steve says, so Kahmali, when are you going to start a market rally of a publicly traded worker co-op? Or is that concept an oxymoron? I just got here, so I don't know anything. A publicly traded worker cooperative, I think that might exist already. I mean, stuff like is like Land O'Lakes publicly traded? I don't know. They're a worker cooperative. So
I say, isn't there a video game company that's both a worker co-op?
Are they publicly traded?
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah. Because I don't see why you can't have a publicly traded worker cooperative. I
don't see at all why you couldn't.
Yeah, I think that could exist. I don't think that we need. I as a worker cooperative, I would urge all of us to avoid doing so, because we know what that really is, and it's all speculative, and there's no reason for that to exist. Like there's no reason for that to exist in an economy. So I just, I would say I wouldn't encourage it, because I would want to democratically. I think if we all got together, we would agree that we would rather not allow a situation whereby some people can just, sit on their butts and let money make money, while others have to actually do labor to earn money. Let's just split up the work evenly and not allow that. We don't need to financialize these corporate, worker cooperatives or anything like that. So I would personally, I appreciate the joke, but I would not encourage any worker cooperatives to be publicly traded and to join in on this awful situation, because I don't think that it really is. I don't think there's anything real behind it. I don't think it does anything to improve the actual real economy, people every day, the material conditions of everyday people's lives. And so I think if we all democratically got together, we would all agree, like, no, we don't want to allow some people to be able to bet so that where others have to lose money, because this is a system where it's like it's so like competitive, inherently competitive and not cooperative, right? There's nothing really cooperative about the stock market. It's all about how am I going to beat you in the sale, right? I want to buy it at a lower price and sell it at a higher price, right? And so it's all about like it's just inherently competitive in a way that I don't think that is necessary within worker cooperative environments. So, Steve Alvarez says, like Michael Moore said, capital will sell you the rope to hang them. Yeah. This is such a good point, right? Is that sometimes I think this too, is that capitalism is just on pace, right? Like capitalism, you just let it do its thing. And I honestly believe that it's going to choke itself out, right? You just let it do its thing. And it has all of these, I think it was Sheldon Volin that published a book about the 17 contradictions of capitalism, and he identifies these 17 inherent contradictions in capitalism, right? Where they do this. Let me give you one of the most obvious contradictions of capitalism, right? In capitalist businesses, it is profitable to try. Your goal is to make as much profit as possible. What it is profitable to try to pay your workers the least amount of money possible and extract the most labor from them, right? So you want to extract more labor, pay your workers less. Extract more output, pay your workers less, right? That will lead to higher margins, higher profits, right? So inherently in capitalism, you want to pay your workers less, right? Unfortunately, when everybody gets together in capitalism and pays their workers less, then those workers don't have any freaking money to buy things anymore, right? So now all of a sudden, you can't buy the widgets that these capitalist enterprises are selling, and so their businesses do worse, right? So that's one of the inherent contradictions in capitalism. It always veers towards trying to pay workers less, right? But you need workers, to have money in order to buy all the goods, right? So it's just one of the inherent contradictions of capitalism, right? So, I totally agree that if you just give capitalism the rope, it will hang itself, and it's doing it, right? Look at the wealth inequality and the instability. These recessions and depressions are getting worse, deeper, longer, more difficult to recover from, and that's not easing up at this point. So, Dave, you're getting really dark there too, just so you know.
Yeah, let me get a light. It's starting, the sun's starting to set.
I see. We lost our sunlight. All right. I'm gonna drop Dave out for just a moment. That's funny. So yeah, the sun set on Dave.
Dave was a whole mood right there. That's how I feel right now.
So all right, nice. I think Dave's back. All right, awesome. So
that's some glare.
That's okay. I think that's better than the darkness. Nice. Appreciate it. Nice. So Mark McKeever says, hell, water futures are now being traded on the stock market. What the fuck? Yeah, I had queued up a story for this. If I was doing my current Sunday clearing out the notebook segments, I would have covered the story. I had this queued up so long ago, and I never did a story. But absolutely, they are now trading water futures. Water is traded on the stock market, and let me just that water is being traded like oil and gold. That creates an incentive. That creates an inherent incentive there. Here's another one of the, contradictions of capitalism, but it creates an incentive for water to be made more scarce. If you own a position in the water futures, you want the value of water to increase. Well, how does the value of water increase, right? We all know, supply and demand, right? If the supply goes down, then the demand goes up, right? And people will pay more for water, right? So the scarcer that water becomes, the more money those people make. Are you crazy? Are we gonna really allow them to set up a system where it literally incentivizes scarcifying water? That's craziness. And they've got water ATMs in Ghana. That was another thing that I wanted to cover on the show that I never got to cover. But we got water ATMs in Ghana, so you got to get your water, potable water through an ATM machine, which allows ATM. These are big tech companies that are going in there, and they become a middleman. They extract wealth, they extract profit from these, right? They extract resources, they extract profit, and there's a middleman that has to make some money, right? Where that money could have been going to improving the resource, caring for the land, ensuring that everyone, had public access to water. But instead, we got this instead. So, Melon Lord says, hello, man, I missed the whole hour. I'm so sorry. I screwed up the stream, and I published it for a later time than it was actually. I queued it up for 9 o'clock tonight. Apparently, I meant to do it for 4 o'clock tonight. What I think happened is that the time zone on my thing was screwed up, and so I was setting it for 4 p.m. somewhere else in the world. And so I just want to shout out to Melon Lord. So Melon Lord probably missed, but I want to give a massive shout out to Melon Lord, who is our newest Patreon patron. Thank you so much for that subscription. We're going to send you an invite link to our Discord server. If you haven't already gotten that, we will send it to you. So thank you so much for being here, Melon. Sorry that I screwed up and messed up the stream here. And a few folks ended up missing out. So I apologize. My apologies on that. I'm keen for one of those at least every now and again. So that's the water futures though, and trading water is just absolutely absurd to me. And I can't believe that it's legal to allow allow people to trade water like it's on a stock market, where it literally just creates the incentive for people to make water scarcer. And you're not just creating the incentive for just anybody. You're creating the incentive for the wealthiest people in the world, right? Because that's who owns futures. Not average people don't own futures of stock, right? So you're incentivizing the wealthiest people in the world to make water scarcer. So the very people that have all the resources to actually go about and do that, we are going to make them, we would make them, we're empowering them and incentivizing them. So that's crazy talk. This was just a headline from CNN Business. Investors can now trade water futures back in December 7th. So, as of December last year, all of a sudden now they're putting water on the stock market, right? So
nobody bought me a share for my birthday.
I'm thirsty too. I need a water future right now.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Well, it's called a water future, Kwame, not a water present.
Mark McKeever says, love the new graphics. Thank you so much, Mark. Well, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. I'm sorry that I screwed up the stream and came in so late on this. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to Dave, special guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
Breaking that down and giving us that really good detailed breakdown and recap on that, because I think these are important events that are going on right now. I think it's good to be in the know on this and to recognize what's going on, and also to realize what the stock market is really about, right? And what all these financial markets are really about. And they want to give the appearance of them doing real work. They're real smart people doing real smart work. They're just a bunch of, moron, rich, usually white kids that, got some money from like their, great grandpappy that's been passing it down since he was a slave master. And they can go play with that money in the stock market, and to the tune of like hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for these hedge funds. And it's all at the expense of like everyday people always. And they always find a way to make sure they protect the billionaires and, do these things that make these moves at the expense of everyday retail investors and just retail workers.
I feel like they will find a way to fix this before we get our stimulus checks.
Yeah. Don't expect. And this is after the $2,000 checks that was supposed to be $2,000 immediately
out the door.
What's that?
$2,000 checks out the door if Dems won the Georgia runoffs. Out the door.
You elect those Georgia senators, you're going to get it out the door immediately. Biden said, and then all of a sudden, immediately turned to 2 or 3 months, turn to March. Now all of a sudden,
turn to we'll see.
Exactly. 2,000 turned to 1,400.
We will get that. We will get that money in time for a whole different pandemic. It's going to be a whole different pandemic. It's going to be the murder hornets will be back, and we'll be quarantining from the murder hornets, and we'll be getting our COVID checks.
Yeah. It's like, I just don't even get how $1,400 now. How, if it's in March, how can you still be calling it, 2,000, 1,400 plus that 600 that you got 3 months ago? That's not 2,000 anymore.
I already spent that 600 wrong week.
Gone. That's gone.
You need to run that cash.
Yo, I swear. That's wild, man. That's wild. Like next time you gotta, it's wild. It's wild. So, all right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us so much. I'm going to wrap this up here. We're at the hour mark. Want to wrap up at an hour. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate you all for being here. Like, subscribe, share if you haven't already. Support our shows if you can. You see the down below. Raise Fist Media is right down below. You'll find links in the description box. Thank you so much to Melon Lord once again. Shout out to Melon Lord. Thank you so much for your support. Just thank you so much, comrade. Cannot show enough gratitude for that. So just thank you. Appreciate you so much, Melon. And we'll give you another shout out at the top of the next show, because I wanted to do it at the top of the show and I didn't do it till the end of the show. So I'll make sure I give you another shout out next show as well. All right, Melon. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. And I think that we're going to call it here. All right.
All right. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us.